Guys, what up? It's Preach, and today we're going to look at something which I've been holding off and thinking, when am I going to do this? When am I actually going to bite the bullet and jump in with this one? And it's not because I'm afraid, it's because we're about to look at my favourite class and spec in the whole game. It's the Protection Warrior. I have played this so long. It is very dear to my heart. And when you find in World of Warcraft, you've got 30 specs of different classes to play with, and then you find the one that makes you cream. This is the one for me, guys. Protection Warrior always has a deep place in my heart. Absolutely love this class. I've stayed away from it for a long time because every time I do play him, I think to myself, God, I love this class. Oh, I love it so. It's so close to my heart. I've played it through. Every time I've played a different class, I've always had my Protection Warrior sitting in the background there just to release some stress. I absolutely love and adore him. So I thought I'm going to tackle a couple of issues in this video for you. What I'm going to tackle is one is the basic spec outline and skills you should be looking for as a Protection Warrior. The other one is I'm going to throw myself in the deep end, similar to what we did on the Resto Shaman, and I'm going to bring along not one, not two, but three serious, hard-hitting DPS into our pug run, well above the gear level of my warrior, and I'm going to show you that that does not matter anymore. You can still tank effectively and purposefully and with solid aggro all the way through, no matter how hard your guys are hitting. So we're going to introduce you to those guys later. They're friends of mine. They're going to come along into the heroic run and show you exactly how you can be pushed as a tank and how it's a breeze. Tanking is all about confidence. If you go into your tanking run and you know you're the balls, you're the baller, and you are most definitely the boss, you're going to laugh your way to it. So let's get down to it. Let's look at our warrior. 3, 4, 5 item level, guys. 3, 4, 5. He's not even ready to go into Zilliman. We've got some very basic gear on this guy. Capped him a little while ago, shortly after the release of Cataclysm. I capped him as my second character, I believe. And I just love this guy. I absolutely love him to bits. He's been every race. When I was in Method, he was a Night Elf. When I was in Kill Count Lost originally, he was Tauren. I leveled him as Tauren because I am a tank at heart. I always will be. I'm not currently satisfied with tanking in Cataclysm, which is why I don't do it anymore, but I will always be a tank, and if it ever comes back to being a challenging and fun and engaging role in raids again, I will instantly go back to being a tank and most definitely try and be a Protection Warrior, because they are fucking awesome. Compared to every other tank out there, they're absolutely awesome. If you've got your Protection Warrior, trust me, there is no substitution. They have every tool in the book to cope with every situation, and they are absolutely magic. Really are good. So what are we looking for in our gear? First of all, we want plate items, obviously. We want plate items preferably with some mastery on there. If we've got mastery on there, we're good. And hopefully some dodge or some parry, something along those lines. What are we not concerned with more purposefully? We are not concerned with hit, and we are not concerned with expertise. Why? Because threat stats no longer matter. That's right, they do not matter. We have skills such as Vengeance, which is going to give us 3 free attack power to boost our threat abilities, and we also have a lot of passive threat modifiers built in anyway. So do not worry about threat stats. So let's look at our items quickly and our gemming. Tanks do care about their gem slot bonuses more than any other class. And why is that? That's purposely because we need a whole bunch of stats going on. We need bits and pieces from everywhere. It's not as easy as saying, well, I need more DPS. We want as much mitigation from avoidance down to blocking, all that kind of stuff, and stamina. Back in the day, you would have all gemmed pure stamina. I've been there myself. I remember tanking Archimon and using every buff under the sun to get myself up to 20k HP and thinking, I am the balls. Oh yeah, I'm the balls because I've got 20k HP. And I was gemmed outright stamina. No longer the case. In fact, we want just enough stamina to survive 2 hits from our boss without any form of healing. Okay, that's how much stamina we need. If we've got enough health to survive 2 hits without dying, we're in good shape. That's as much health as you need. Beyond that, we're mitigating damage because it's important as a tank, and I hope you guys check into my tank video, which is going to be a philosophy video on tanking, why we do this. We are a tank, and we cover several roles on that, so I'll do a whole video designed to that, but we are looking at mitigation. A lot of our mitigation as a tank, as a Protection Warrior, is going to come from mastery, okay? Mastery is going to increase our chance to block. And then critical block, which is blocking twice as much damage. Really powerful stat for us. And what does it allow us to do? It allows us to smooth out our damage income. Because as a tank, we're taking damage in. But what don't we want is we don't want to spike up and down. You look at DK tanks and feral druids a lot of the time, and they're spiking and all the health bars up and down like a yo-yo. We don't want that. We want smooth damage income. Makes it so much easier for the healers. We want to be blocking regularly and for a lot. And when we're regularly blocking, our damage intake is smooth. There isn't going to be that huge hit that's going to really topple our health down to the bottom. We're blocking regularly, okay? So we've got a blue gem socket, so we stick a green in there, build our mastery, get 30 stam out of it, and 10 dodge out of it, okay? A lot of these bunch of stats we need. In our belt, we had a yellow socket, which is the additional socket, so we stuck a pure mastery gem in there to just boost our block, and in a red slot, we took parry mastery, and got a nice 15 stam bonus it out of anyway. Try and pick up your set bonuses, guys, because they're all going to come in handy down the line. Although we do want to focus heavily into mastery, all the other stats are still important. So if you've got a blue socket, mastery stamina, yellow socket, pure mastery gem, and a red one, I suggest parry mastery, okay guys? Really buff those stats up. You want as much dodge, as much parry, and more mastery than either of those, all built in together, okay? You can see how long it's been since I played this warrior. He's got the old leg enchant on. I'm going to change it, but for the sake of this video, we'll leave it as is. But you should have the stamina dodge enchant on there now, because agility doesn't benefit us at all. All the way down the line with reforging, generally towards mastery. It's even worth dropping avoidance towards mastery, okay? Mastery is a nice, regular, it's not a chance particularly, it's just going to smooth out your damage intake, okay? And we're getting as much mastery as we can from enchants. On the weapon, I've stuck mending on there, and our Lobby 346 weapon, I haven't gone with windwalk, and just keeping it as mending for our heroic runs, okay? Trinkets, try and get mastery ones if possible. The Barren Hole trinket, if you just do your dailies, is the most powerful trinket ever put in the game as far as I'm concerned. It is so huge. That on use every 1 minute basically nullifies so many magic attacks. So we are now blocking with our mastery, which is stopping all the physical, and we've got this extra cooldown for our Barren Hole trinket, which is giving us so much magical damage reduction, okay? Really good. Quick talents overview for you guys. This video is going to be incredibly quick because of this heroic run, because these guys are going to be hitting like trucks. I'm not even joking. These are going to be some big 391 gear guys coming in with us. So I'll have a look at our quick talents. We've picked up toughness, boost our armor up, more damage reduction. We are a tank at the end of the day, and a lot of people think that, well, I'm a tank, so what is my main priority? And too many people will say to you it's to hold aggro. That is just not true, okay? Holding aggro is secondary to the first most important ability as a tank, and that is being alive. A dead tank is worse than anything else being dead. If your tank dies in a raid or in a dungeon, you're in a whole world of shit. Your number one priority as a tank is to stay alive. So we pick up talents on that. Boost our armor. We've taken Blood and Thunder, 2 out of 2. 100% chance to spread our rend everywhere. Lovely for AoE tanking. Beautiful for heroics. We're mostly AoE tanking. Really solid talent to take. I picked that up. We've gone 1 out of 3 insight just to get a nice 5% crit on our heroic strike. We've taken 2 out of 3 shield spec. Why did we take 3 out of 3? We just don't need it. Rage is so iffy. And by iffy, if you don't understand what iffy means it's not reliable. Rage is just not a reliable stat, especially as a tank. Sometimes you'll just be full of rage, and which is great. Full of rage means you can spam your abilities no end and use cooldowns. But then again, you might have no rage. So we'll take 2 out of 3 there just to give us a solid rage income whenever we block. Our mastery's buffed our block anyway, so we're going to be blocking a hell of a lot. 2 out of 3 is just fine. We get 40 when we spell reflect. Just fine. Shield mastery, reduce the cooldown on our shield block. Quick speech on shield block. Shield block with very high mastery actually turns into a shield wall for physical damage. When you buff your shield block and get that block up, so you're guaranteed to get some critical blocks off, and you've got all that mastery, you are just taking so little physical damage. This is why protection warriors and paladins are so good at tanking tons of adds. You just take Halphus Wormbreaker, a lot of you will have seen that. You have all those whelps, you have 10 to 20 whelps coming at you, all beating on you. Really a problem for DKs and feral druids. They're just not getting the mitigation. They're not reducing enough damage compared to a prot warrior. You can go in, pop shield block, and take almost nothing from those adds, okay? They're going to be hitting for absolutely garbage because we're going to stick our shield up there real proud and stand there like balls. We've taken 2 out of 2 hold the line. Improves our chance to block every time we parry. This makes parry slightly more important for us as a prot warrior, because every time we parry, we're then going to block even more on our next attack, more mitigation. For our heroics, we take Gag Order, okay? Gives our Pummel and heroic throw a chance to silence the target. We're not too bothered about Pummel. Pummel's okay for this, but it's more about the heroic throw in heroics. We're going to have ads stood out there, mobs that are casting at us with a quick heroic throw. We can silence them, and that leads us to our next most important thing as a tank, and that is positioning mobs. This is number 3. We are tanking these mobs so the DPS can kill them. DPS becomes more efficient every day of the week when these mobs are all grouped together. So when we can group casters and meleeers all into a nice big ball of mobs, our DPS is going to go balls to the wall crazy and be loving you all the way to the end of the earth, because they are just going to cleave the crap out of them, okay? So gag order makes that so much easier for us. Why have we not taken Last Stand? Last Stand is now on a shared cooldown with our big raid cooldown, Rallying Cry. And what you'll find, especially if you're in a 10-man guild, is it just becomes inefficient to use Last Stand over the Rallying Cry, because you're still going to get the health buff, but for a slightly less duration, you're going to buff the whole raid, and that in a lot of situations, a hell of a lot of situations, is far more useful. So it comes to the point where we drop Last Stand. Okay, I've dropped Last Stand. I would rather pop up a Rallying Cry any day of the week and buff the whole party than just buff myself. It's a slight nerf to yourself, but it gives you the extra chance to save yourself. And considering we throw in Rage Regen in with our Last Stand anyway, it makes not much difference, guys. We want Vigilance. It's a great ability, so we've taken Concussion Blow, which is again brilliant. It's not great for bosses, although it does have a nice big threat modifier on it. It's going to do a ton of damage. What we want Concussion Blow for is generally in our heroics is going to be an extra interrupt for us and stop that big damage all the time. A mob casting against a Prot Warrior for more than once every 20 or 30 seconds is bad play, guys. Nothing should be able to cast against a Prot Warrior unless he has no ability to be stopped. Really, Prot Warriors have Concussion Blow, Heroic Throw, Charge Stun, Intercept Stun, Pummel, all these abilities, Shockwave, just to stop things casting, okay? It's very, very difficult to cast against a Prot Warrior. Bastion Defense, mandatory talent, guys, stops you being crit. Okay, it does some extra buffs for you, but priority is that he stops you being crit. If you get crit by a boss, you go and die. You go and be on the floor, eating the mud. So we need Bastion Defense to stop being crit. Warbringer, the most amazing talent ever brought into the game for Prot Warriors. It seriously is. You will not find a class in this game that is more mobile than a Prot Warrior. A Prot Warrior can be in 20, 30 million different places at once. Slight exaggeration maybe, or maybe not, you decide. But generally a Prot Warrior can be left, right, up your ass, out your nose, inside your legs, tiny shoelaces, but at the same time putting your tie on for you. All good. And Warbringer allows us to do that. Charge, Intercept, Intervene are all usable while in any stance and in combat. Absolutely amazing, okay? Charging in combat, it was simply the greatest change to Prot Warriors in the history of mankind. So effing good. Improve Revenge, buff to the damage, and it hits another target. So it's now turned our Revenge, which costs absolutely jack all our Revenge. So good. It now is going to hit 2 targets and hit harder. How good is that talent? It's just amazing. Devastate. Get rid of our Sunder Armor. We're now going to Devastate and cause Sunder Armor. So our now Sunders, which increase the DPS on the target and is our nice filler ability to use when we're on low range and waiting for other things to come on, is just going to Sunder the target as well and increases the DPS on it. Wonderful. And does some damage. Thunderstruck. We've taken Thunderstruck because it improves the damage of our Rend, Cleave and Thunderclap. We're using all these abilities all the time while we're in heroics. It's going to stack up 3 times to give us big, fatty shockwaves. Big, bombastic shockwaves, okay? Don't worry about trying to track that too much. It's a nice added bonus, but in general, if you need to shockwave to stun a group of mobs, or you've got them all, this is what I want to think about. And the third thing we talk about tanks is positioning. You've got all these mobs in a nice fatty ball in front of you. Shockwave a lot of them. Stun them all, so you're not even taking any more damage now. You're passively reducing your damage. Excellent. Vigilance, if you've got some guy in there who's causing you a ton of trouble, go ahead and Vigilance him so your taunts refresh. But more importantly, if you're a raid tank and you've got 2 tanks doing a job, stick Vigilance on the other tank and you're going to keep building your Vengeance. Okay? Really, really good. Heavy Repercussions. Every time we shield block, our shield slam's going to do 100% damage. Okay? It's 100% more. So you're going to hit twice as hard with your shield slam. What does that mean for us? Well, generally, we're going to be shield blocking almost on cooldown in our heroics. And then we're going to be doing some extra threat on top of that. Excellent. I'll take it. Sword and Board gives our Devastate, which we're spamming in between, waiting for things to come off cooldown to refresh our shield slam. So for more shield slams, more threat, more damage, all good. And finally, our signature ability, the Shockwave. Really good for heroics, guys. I just cannot express to you how good this is for heroics. Once you've grouped all your mobs and you're starting to get hit by everything, shield blocks on cooldown, doesn't matter, shockwave them, stun the whole lot. You've stopped everything spellcasting, you've stopped everything meleeing. Shockwave is just a fantastic ability. We've then gone into cruelty, just to buff